Last week on Everybody Has a Podcast.
Today on Sally Jesse Ryan.
Sally Jesse Ryan, my name's Scarlett, and I don't give a fuck. I'm 14, I smoke weed, I steal cars, and I'm a member of 4 gangs, and my daddy don't get it. What he don't get is he ain't the boss of me.
Today on Sally Jesse Ryan. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Sally Jesse Ryan. I'm Sally Jesse Ryan. Today we have little Scarlett and her father, Jonathan. How are you?
Hey, Sally Jesse Ryan. How's it going?
Jonathan, it looks like you've struggled with Scarlett here.
Yeah, Sally Jesse Ryan, I'm really out of options here. You're my only hope, but she's totally out of control. The other day I found her in my tool shed, and she was just hitting my valuables with a hammer. And when I went in there, she told me to back the fuck off. I don't know what else to do.
All right, well, let's go ahead and bring her out. Let's bring out Scarlett.
Boo!
Whatever, fuck y'all.
Scarlett, you have quite a mouth for such a young lady.
Well, y'all don't understand. I am in control. I'm the one who is in 4 gangs. And you know what, Daddy? Daddy Jonathan, I was breaking your stuff, and I don't give a fuck.
Sally Jesse Ryan, I found condoms in her room, for God's sakes. I mean, what else am I supposed to do? I work 2 jobs. I'm a single father. What else am I supposed to do?
Well, Jonathan, normally we'd send you to Dr. Phil, but I have to tell you, tonight we're just going to send little Scarlett to boot camp.
Oh, hell no. Fuck that. I ain't going to boot camp. I ain't going to boot camp.
Scarlett, watch your mouth. Watch your mouth. Have some respect.
Now,
You're
Scarlett,
not my boss.
Scarlett?
You know, I do have condoms in my room, but I ain't using them because I want to get pregnant.
Oh, good God.
All right, well, like we said, we're sending Scarlett to boot camp. Let's bring out Big D. Who do you think you are? Sit down right now.
You can't tell me what to do,
Sit
man.
down. You are a lady and you will act like a lady.
Yes, sir.
I'm taking this little bitch to boot camp.
You do it. You teacher. You show her who's boss.
Daddy, don't let him take me. I'm in 4 gangs. This guy ain't got nothing on me.
This is what you need, Scarlett. I'm doing this because I love you.
Talk 6 is taking fire. Okay, convert south of the river. I see you coming to the red tracer. I just called him. Yes, damn well.
Since the dawn of the first age, by the elders it was foretold, a mighty cure that would rise when needed most. Their words would inspire enlightenment among the common. As it was prophesied, it has come to pass. Everybody has a podcast.
Hey there, dudes and dudettes. It's yet another episode of Everybody Has a Podcast. What is going on?
Woo!
Yeah, boy.
I am Ryan. Joining me as always is my good buddy Clark. What's up, man?
What's going on, baby?
And an unprecedented third return for a guest host, Mr. Billy Rutherford. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Ryan. I'm doing great. You know, I couldn't miss the paranormal show, man.
Yeah, I was going to say, normally we roll our guest hosts through 2, but when Billy heard we were doing the ghost interview, which we'll talk about that here in a sec, when he heard we're doing the paranormal interview with Texas Ghost and Spirit Intervention, he had to join in. So we figured we'd do him a solid.
Yeah, I begged. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
It was kind of. He did also bring whiskey. So
Yeah.
I wore a bikini.
This is Everybody Has a Podcast, episode number 11. Check us out on our website, everybodyhasapodcast.com. Check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/everybodyhasapodcast, and also, of course, Twitter, twitter.com/everybodypod. Last thing I want to ask you guys to do, you're in the chat room right now. I know it. I see you there. Do us a favor. There's an Amazon link on our website. Click on that bitch and buy something from Amazon. You don't have to do it today, but I do ask, before you buy anything on Amazon, just click through our link. we get credit for that. It costs you nothing. It's a free way to help our podcast. We get like 4%. I don't know how that works exactly. But help us out, please. And share us with some friends. We'd appreciate it. Lot to do, lot to talk about. We're really excited. We got a great interview tonight, but I wanted to get a few things off our chest. I know we had some stuff to talk about. What's been going on with you guys this week since we last spoke?
Well, Ryan, it's pool season, or lake season, or how it's summer for God's sakes in Texas, and you need to be around a body of water, and for most of us, massive amounts of alcohol. Well, my house, I have a pool at the house, and it kind of changes a lot of things about you. Like people randomly, call you and like, "Hey, dude, what's up?"
Is it hey,
I'm in town.
Is it like having a truck when people need to move?
Yeah, that's exactly.
People are your best friend at that point.
Yeah,
it's totally cool though. I'm a more the merrier kind of guy. You guys know that. I'm down, for people to come over. Do a lot of drinking on weeknights as people drop by. But kind of the pressure. I'm a big dude, and I'm kind of hairy, and there's some manscaping that you have to do, because you never really know who's just going to pop in. Not that I'm trying to impress anybody, because I'm happily married. But you don't want to look like you're in a fleece sweater, while you're splashing around the pool.
Yeah. Well,
for me,
it's my contention that if you're going to be a 6 out of 10, you be the best goddamn 6 out of 10 you could be.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get over 5, but man, I'm striving for that 6.
Well, like the one time, like it's always the guy, like your friends are always like coming by themselves, and they might bring you a case of beer, but it's like the one time you don't like shave and like you're hungover as fuck and you're just sweating and you've had diarrhea all day. That's when everybody's like, "Hey man, I've got like 4 of my cousins. Yeah. They're real hot," and like, of course I can't bang them, but I'm gonna bring them.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing I kind of get run into too is, you jump in the pool for a quick dip, and then somebody shows up, and it, a 30, 45-minute swim session turns into like 8 hours of binge drinking in the pool, and it's basically recreating like a frat party. And my problem is I have a hard time reapplying sunblock. I have Irish blood in me. Half Irish, half Italian. So I do actually tan at some point, but I burn real bad at first. So I'll put sunblock on before I jump in, but then I'll get in and, you pounding beers, and then there's always that person that's like, "Oh, good God, you need to put on sunscreen." And I'll do it. I'll reapply, but it's awkward to ask somebody else, "Hey, can you get my back?" I don't want to like walk over to Clark and be like, "Hey, Clark, can you rub some lotion on me?"
I'd be like, "Yeah, dude, where's your hairbrush at?" Like,
so basically, like I have this weird like sunburn now where I look like a petroglyph and like an old like Mayan cliff, because like a half, like I'm like 3-tone, like you can see hand marks where I like half-ass put it on and everything. So that's a negative part of it. But I was thinking too, pool etiquette. Pool etiquette is something I think is important that we cover. Kind of my point of view on the pool etiquette is when you come over to somebody else's pool and at least get out and pretend you're peeing a couple times. Yeah. I mean, I know you're going to pee in the pool. Everyone does, but at least get out a couple times. At least, just for the other people around the pool. Clark, what are some other pool etiquette things you think? I'm sure you've been to a public pool before.
Well, okay, so I have this problem where, like, sure, I'm a bigger guy, but I'm also kind of short, which means I don't touch the bottom a whole lot. So whenever other people swim past me, I just kind of go with the current, and so the current behind them. So it looks like I'm like starting to like swim uncomfortably close behind somebody. I'm trying to get away. It's just not working. So like people are like look behind them. I'm like up there like dry humping their back. It's like I don't mean to. I've got a beer in one hand. I'm literally swimming with like one hand. I'm trying to get away. So if you're a short person, grab onto a side. If nothing else, just not to appear creepy.
It's like that scene in Titanic when the ship's going down and it's sucking people underneath.
It's exactly what happens.
Yeah, well,
every
Clark,
time to me.
Your raging erection doesn't help anything. That doesn't help.
Or the fact that he's tweaking his nipples the whole time. How about you, Ryan? What are some pool etiquette things that you like to observe?
That's a good question, man. I don't pool too often. I mean to all the time. Number one, if you go up to go get a beer, you gotta make sure everybody else is good. You gotta at least bring a couple back for everybody else. I think whether they ask for it or not, go ahead and bring 2 or 3 back because they're gonna get opened.
I agree. I totally agree, man. Good on you for that. Probably my biggest pet peeve right now is we play a lot of pool volleyball, and my pool is like 3.5 feet in the shallow end and like 5.5 feet in the deep end.
I never get invited for pool volleyball because I'm 5'4".
Well, the men play the deep end, Clark. Like you're gonna have to learn how to tread water.
I'll take the girls' team. It's fine.
But what kills me is like somebody will knock the ball out of the pool, and I've got a couple of them, but it'll like roll, into my yard where who knows, like in the grass, what's lying down there. If you knock it out, I mean, we do the knot it, where you put your thumb to your forehead and you close your fingers like you used to do as a kid when somebody passed gas. We do that, but if you knock it out, go get it. I mean, that's just the way it should be. What do you guys think? I mean,
so I have a question. How many pool type situations have you guys gotten into where boobies made a display after it's all said and done?
No, you don't have to answer this, Bill.
No, Bill, before you're married man.
My wife is a fan of the show now, which is a good thing and a bad thing.
Oh, it's a horrible thing.
No, but BT before my wife, I'll say it. There was some occasions. I'm a big dude and I've got some pretty hefty friends. So I mean, hell, some of those guys are B cups by themselves, so those count.
Well, here's the thing: is if any man is wearing a white T-shirt in the pool, you're not seeing tits that day. Like everybody's going to be splaying it loud and proud before she'll just make it happen.
That's very intriguing. I'm not in the pool enough to really think of rules, but these all actually do sound legit. I mean, Bill, you would be the master. I think you need to draft. Maybe we'll go to Hobby Lobby, and that'll be your birthday. We'll get you like a little thing made up, a little cute thing with all your rules.
Well, okay, so I mean, I think I'm a decently suave guy. I know how to talk, and I'm not a bad looking dude. Everybody can admit the beard is beautiful.
It feels beautiful on the back of my neck.
Ryan, you need to grow a beard, by the way.
Yeah.
2/3 of us have a pretty gnarly beard.
I definitely I've seen 3 or 4 sets of cans, not 3 or 4 independent cans. So I mean, it's not that difficult, but man, you got to make sure you're in the right surroundings with the right people.
Yeah,
and then okay.
You have to get like 4 or 5 things have to fall into place. I understand before random gaggle of girls, will take their tops off.
Yeah.
Well, and I think another risk you run into when you invite people over, sometimes some of your single friends will come over and some of your married friends come over, and you have your married friend and his wife, and she's in a bikini, and and your single friend, it's like that Wi-Fi between guys. You can just tell that that they're inappropriately looking at them, or there's that weird like tension in the pool, and you just want to be like, "Come on, dude, really?"
Yeah.
It's just the testosterone sometimes isn't soluble.
Clark is slowly drifting towards her.
I would always at least try to bring normally, and Bill, shut up because I've never done this with you. But everybody else, I would try to bring at least one female. Like, I mean, I'm gonna be looking at yours, and you can look at mine. You don't have to like enjoy what you're about to look at because it's gonna be hideous what I bring. But as long as there's beers involved and I can make fart jokes, we're good.
You're like that guy that comes over and drinks all the craft beers and brings Miller Lite.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and I like how in commercials you see people, like the beer commercials, you'll see people swimming in the pool, and the girls get out and they look absolutely drop dead gorgeous. I don't care who you are. If you're in a body of water for more than an hour, you're going to get out. You look like an old man. You're all wrinkled up. The girl's hair's all matted.
Mascara's running.
Yeah, like the push-up part of their bikini thing is all saturated, so now they're sagging a little bit. You get out of the water as a guy, your swim trunks basically pedophilia-wise grab you, and like you're wearing Under Armour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's no graceful way to dry off either. Like you have to get a towel, and it's just it's awkward. That's why pool etiquette to me was just so interesting because there's all these unwritten rules. Especially if you go to a public pool. For God's sakes, I've been in a public pool before, Ryan, and literally had a kid shit in the pool while I was there. I was young, and I may have been the one that did it.
Plot twist. I was that boy.
That's a true story, actually. And a girl got out and threw up.
Oh, man.
Did she touch it?
No, but we blamed it on another kid, and he took the fall.
I hope that kid never amounted to anything because of that one moment.
Well, you think it's going to sink, I mean, all of your experience to this point is it sinks. Nope.
No. Yeah, Billy's dead on with the fact that whenever a girl begins to get in the pool, she's not bad looking, it's okay. But by the time she's done, her bikini, especially the top, looks like the Nerf football that made it into the pool that wasn't supposed to make it into the pool
2 summers ago.
Nobody's turned on by the end of it. Everybody just wants to go home.
It's getting pretty late. It's 6:45.
Who invited Estelle Getty? Oh, man.
All right. Well, gentlemen, on a totally different note, I wanted to relay some experiences that me and the girlfriend had. It's been a couple weeks now. This was a 2-week trial. Her doctor recommended to her to try out a gluten-free diet. And she's like me in that we're both really not good about watching what we eat. We just kind of eat whatever. The difference is I need to lose 40 pounds and she doesn't. So this is kind of a hard thing for her. You know, she's not really used to dieting. When you guys hear gluten-free, what do you think? Like, everybody's heard this term now. It's 2013. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I mean, all the good stuff is glutes, right? So it's like, it's all dairy. You can't have wheat, I don't think.
No, nothing with wheat.
Well,
Yeah.
see, no, that's the thing. Dairy is okay a lot of times. I will say this. This is what I have learned. You can't ever fucking know what has glutens and what does not. Now, okay, so bread, glutens, but some ice cream is just fine. You can have chips and queso all fucking day long. No glutens.
What? I thought it has cheese.
No, dairy's pretty much okay.
What? Nobody knows. Nobody fucking
No,
knows.
no.
what gluten-free really
Here's
is.
the deal.
But you know what I think when I hear gluten-free? I think Whole Foods and you're spending like $15 for a loaf of bread.
There
That's
you
a
go.
gluten-free bread.
You know what? I'll tell you exactly about Whole Foods and the gluten-free experience. I just happened to be there. So there are literally apps you download on your phone, and my whole thing to her was, and you know, she agreed. It was like, look, we've just got to get through 2 weeks to do this trial. You know, they want to see if you're allergic to glutens. So we're just going to kind of do whatever it takes. It's not like this is a lifestyle change at this point. We're just checking it out. So you get these little apps, and you just scan everything, and you find out what has glutens and what does not, and it's crazy. And it's kind of weird. You hear the word diet, you instantly think, well, I have to eat, you know, healthy shit. No, you can actually eat some pretty horrible shit on a gluten-free, diet. But a lot of it is off off limits. In particular, bread, obviously. Anyways, to fire this bitch off, we went to Whole Foods. You know, one thing that I said in the beginning, I was like, well, look, if you have to do gluten-free, we're in Austin, Texas. This is probably one of the best places in the world. All these people are so full of themselves, you know. Half these people are doing this probably just to say they did because it's the catchphrase of the day. So we went to Whole Foods, and I have always heard people say eating healthy is expensive. Eating healthy is expensive. I don't think it really is. I'll tell you what's expensive, and it's eating like shit, but eating out every night. You know, even if it's just fast food, if you do that twice a day, I mean, that's $20 a day in food. That's a lot of money. That's really expensive. In the times that I've eaten healthier, I save a lot of money because I go to the store and I'm buying this stuff, you know? But man, Whole Foods is so fucking expensive. It's insane. So some examples I have for you. Little personal size pizza, like smaller than the Totino's one, a gluten-free pizza. It was like $8.
What?
Yeah, $8 for a little personal size pizza. A loaf
Takes you like, what, 10 seconds to eat it?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's little. It's little, dude. Like I said,
Yeah.
smaller than those Totino's party pizzas.
Your return on investment per bite's shitty.
Yeah. So obviously we did gluten-free bread. It's like $6-7 for the loaf, and it's a little loaf. It's not like a Mrs. Baird's loaf. It's a little bitty loaf. Crazy. And of course, this all tastes like ass. We find out later on.
Oh yeah.
What I did.
There's no glutes in it, dude.
What I did was, this was her trying out this gluten-free week. So, you know, I saw a chocolate cake there, and I said, you know what? She loves chocolate. This was a gluten-free vegan cake. And I told her there was no price on it or anything, but I was like, you know what? I want to buy this. I want to buy this for you, you know, to help you out this week. So obviously she's paying for her groceries, but let me get this for you. It's kind of a nice gesture, you know. And I was like, I knew this was going to be expensive, but whatever. I've got cash. So we get to the register. She pays for like 7 or 8 items of hers. It's literally, I think it was like $60-70. Insane. And then I get up there with my cake. Now this is not a big cake. This is a littler cake. This is a gluten-free vegan cake.
But you're desperate for that cake, right?
Right. I mean, or you will be in a day or two.
Yeah.
This motherfucker was $19.
Oh, shit!
Oh, my God.
$19, dude, for a fucking cake.
Did it come with a hangy, too, or what?
No.
Should have come with 2 handies, double palming it.
It looks like it came with a nice order of anal rape for that price.
So, I've long story short, we got through the 2 weeks. She was not happy. We went to...
Did the blowjob start drying up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, big time. No, we went to... the other thing, I was like, well, Wednesday, I'll take you out. You know, we'll go get some food. I was like, once again, we're in Austin, Texas. I know this isn't fun, but we're in a good city. Half these restaurants have a gluten-free menu. You know, this won't be the worst thing in the world. And we go to Texas Roadhouse, and we see that on paper all these things are gluten-free, but we get there and they're like, no, none of this is gluten-free. It's like you can eat a steak with no seasoning, mashed potatoes with nothing. She's like literally sitting there in the booth like crying because she's 3 days in and she's never had to diet before. She's 3 days in and she thinks like she's going to get to enjoy herself and have a good fucking meal for once. No, it was a miserable night, man. And it's a lot of strain on my end, like, because you want to be supportive. So my whole thing with her is I'm going to be gluten-free all 2 weeks with you. And what that means, and she knows this, is I'm just going to eat gluten-free with you while we're together. And then I'm going to go sneak a cheeseburger in the truck. I'm going to say I'm taking the trash out. So it's really tough on me too, man. And ultimately, she got through the 2 weeks. She did really good. But I don't think I've ever seen anyone happier in their entire life to figure out that was not the problem. Like, that did not solve the problem. Like, she was so happy to just go be able to eat glutens again. And after this 2 week experiment, I can firmly tell you, no one fucking knows what a gluten is. No one knows if glutens are in anything or not. You just can't tell. Just download a phone app and go off that. It's insane. Certain brands will have glutens of certain different foods. It's fucking crazy. And it makes me hate these. I know that it's the catchword of the day as far as health. I recognize that some people... One of her friends literally does have a gluten allergy. One of her friends has been doing this for 2 years. She had to, and she feels much better, and she's good at it now because she's been doing it for 2 years. But I do believe that it's very much the health catchword of the day, and I hate those people even more.
No, it definitely would have turned into a like the movie Heavyweights for me. Like, like he starts knocking on like the posts of the bed and stuff, looking for hollow, and like he pulls it up, like there's like a ring of salamis and stuff. Like that would have been me the entire way through.
Yeah.
So have you guys dabbled with diets at all? I know we're men, we're not supposed to admit it, but
no, yeah, I did paleo for a while. And, I mean, lost a lot of weight doing it, but man, god damn it, I just love fucking gross, nasty ass, salty, greasy food.
Yeah, it's so fucking good. Yeah. Well, every few years I'll get on a kick and I'll lose a good 40, 50 pounds, and then obviously at least 20, 30 of it comes back. What I've learned is there's no fucking quick fix. There really is no cheat. You need to eat healthy and you need to work out every day. That's it. It's not complicated. Now, it's not easy, but I also found it's not hard, man. You get like 3 or 4 days in, you get momentum, and it's not so bad. You know, what sucks is when you have to go out with your friends, go out to eat and stuff like that. That gets a little tricky.
What about you, Bill? You done a...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I did people say the Atkins, but I didn't really do the Atkins. It just basically watched my carbohydrates. And I put a max for 20 grams a day. And the first time I did it, I just basically did it because my dad's a diabetic, right? So I figured it's in the genetics, you know. So I might as well get on, watch the sweets anyway. So I did it. I'm a big dude, I'm about 6'2", around 250, in that range. Well, I got up to about 275 for a while, so I went on it for 6 months. And I got down to 225, man. And I was going to the gym every day because, the thing about working out is you just feel better, and the same thing with eating better. And I did eat chicken breast and tuna. I wasn't just eating raw hamburger every day, so I wasn't eating all red meat.
Right.
But one thing I did discover, though, because I got great results, and I was in the best shape of my life. But the moment I got off of it, man, it just immediately, I started going back to pizza, and I'm a cereal person, man. Cereal is like, I could eat it 3 meals a day. I love cereal. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, I mean, good Lord, it's like crack. But the moment I got off of it, man, it was probably 2 or 3 weeks, and I just started ballooning right back up. So it takes a lot of willpower, but I think Ryan hit the nail right on the head, man. It's just all about, obviously portion control, what you eat, and working out. And I sit in an office all day, so you got to watch what you eat.
Well, you anorexic girls, take note. If you're looking to drop a couple, this is what I did. This is so unhealthy. I just didn't eat. For a few days.
No, that works, man. I mean,
I went back to eat. Everybody says, "Oh, if you don't eat and then you eat, you're going to balloon back up." I didn't. No, I lost.
It depends. I mean, if you go back to 2 weeks of sitting out eating a whole pizza at home, yeah, you're going to balloon back up.
Yeah, I mean, I lost like 20 pounds, and I'm like 3 pounds away from being under 200 again. And it's been probably 2 or 3 weeks since I haven't really been eating, and it just hasn't come back. Obviously I'm not eating like Chris Farley on my last day on Earth,
right.
But
you're not eating heroin.
Yeah, exactly. But
rest in peace.
Yeah, for real. But I didn't eat for a while. I let all that shit flush out of my system, and then I slowly weaned myself back on food. My stomach fucking shrank to where it didn't need a goddamn double meat cheeseburger anymore. It needed half of a single meat and some tater tots, and I was good. And that's kind of what I'm going to start doing, is just intermittent fasting, because it just works for me. I will not count calories. I will maybe work out if I have a workout partner. But, yeah, I can go without eating for a very long time. I have no problem doing that.
Yeah, I mean, look, losing weight is purely calories in versus calories out. That's all it is.
You know, but I speak from experience here. Before the wedding, you know, the wife went on a crash course diet, and she's gorgeous, you know, the way she is. But she, you know, like a woman, she wanted to lose some weight.
Right.
And the only thing she changed, guys, was she didn't do fast food, and she stopped drinking sodas. She stopped drinking sodas altogether. She lost 20 pounds in like 4 weeks.
Yep. Wow. I don't drink any sodas anymore. Period.
Yeah, drop sodas. I've heard that's good. You know, our first or second episode, we had Brad from Be Fit. We probably need to get him back.
This has been a segment with Be Fit with everybody on the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking 3 fat guys telling everybody how to lose weight.
I'm Big Bone Ryan.
I've been reading a lot of just lastly, and we'll wrap this up unless you guys have more to say. I've been listening to a lot of biohacker podcasts and blogs. Really fascinating shit. And it's not like trying to cheat the system. It's just like, look, on top of a healthy diet and exercising, which is what you have to do, here's also some other things. So some things that are pretty much universally tested so far and working for a couple years here that everybody's been able to say on the internet and stuff. Raspberry ketones, you want that. You want to take MCT oil, which is basically coconut oil.
Raspberry and the Ketones sounds like a 50s band.
Move it up. But move it up. Hey, hey.
No.
Raspberry ketones, MCT oil. You want acetyl L-carnitine with alpha lipoic acid. Okay, it comes in the same thing. You can buy all this at Walmart. What else? L-carnitine. Those 4 things. Oh, and grass-fed butter.
What?
Grass-fed
butter?
Yeah, you want butter, which sounds fattening, and it is. But if you get grass-fed butter, supposedly it kicks your metabolism into super fucking overdrive.
I've got Country Crock right there. We can just go in my backyard.
That's for lathering us up.
I made a low-carb pizza, right, dog?
Yeah.
And my low-carb kick. And it turned out real good, but I had to use like a flaxseed butter cheese mixture for the crust.
Right.
So I go buy all this flaxseed, and I don't know where the hell, where it was. So I had to walk into H-E-B, hey, where's your flaxseed? And the guy's looking at me in the health section, kind of like, yeah, buddy, you're a jogger, you know. So I buy it. I don't pay any attention to it at all. I make it. I overeat the suggested serving, which is probably the issue right there.
Yeah.
But immediately, like my stomach starts just going nuts, right? Yeah, it's like the scene in Dumb and Dumber, So obviously I'm occupied in the laboratory for quite an amount of time, and so finally I'm on my phone and I'm Googling flaxseed, and evidently it's a natural laxative. And, obviously it says a big warning on almost every web page, do not overconsume this, blah, 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 So you learn the hard way on that stuff.
That's my thing that I want to bitch about when it comes to dieting or changing, really anything in your body. I've noticed, and this is as minimal as I hadn't been taking my vitamin concoction that I just explained to you guys, and I started again 2 days ago. It fucks you up so bad. It's not that... Dude, I'll not eat, and I'll be hungry. I'll handle the hungry feeling, because that's what happens when you don't eat. I will go to the gym and be fucking tired and sore the next day, because that's what happens when you go to the gym. But, man, what's not fucking fair is you're trying to eat healthy, and you feel shittier for it. It fucks your stomach up.
Dude, just stop eating, and you won't shit? Nothing. It's just like, meh.
You'll just dry heave into a toilet for 2 hours a day. It's
okay.
Like, come on, I'll be hungry. I'll get sore muscles, but God damn it, can my stomach just not fuck up when I'm trying to eat healthier? And sure, after 3 or 4 days, it feels better. But, man, it's a rough 3 or 4 days.
You're just like, man, I need a quadruple cheeseburger to settle my stomach.
Dude, I've caved in before, like on day 3, and had a cheeseburger, and I swear to Christ, I instantly felt better. Like, my stomach settled down and everything.
There used to be a product on the market that was in a lot of, like, ripped fuel and hydroxycut. It was ephedra. I don't know if you guys are familiar with ephedra.
Yeah.
But it was a stimulant, right? And it was loaded with caffeine, but it was a stimulant. And, yeah, this is back when I used to work out all the time when I was younger. I'd be in the gym, and I could literally feel my heart beating through my chest. Like, I was bench pressing, and the guy that was spotting me was like, dude, your t-shirt's moving from your heartbeat. But I used to pop those like they were Flintstone vitamins,
Oh, yeah.
It's insane.
Well, I went to the hospital about 9 months ago because of 5 Hour Energies. I had to go to the emergency room.
I just felt like I took mitotropin, and I felt like I was floating. I couldn't tell what reality was. I felt like I was underwater for like 4 hours. But like I could breathe the water that was surrounding me in the server room.
You told me that you peed like 16 times that day.
Yeah.
You're probably just dehydrated.
I would check in with Ryan every time I'd pee. I was like, all right, going on number 15 here.
If you ever look what's in like the Monster Energies, that shit is so bad for you. All the stuff that's in there, it's terrible for you, man.
Well,
and you see that it's the in chic thing to do. Like my nephew's 13, right? And he wears all like the motocross hats, and he's really into the X Games kind of stuff. And man, he's like his mom won't allow it, but every time we get away, he's like, "Hey, Uncle Bill, man, can you get a Monster Energy? Can we get a Monster?" So it's almost
like shit.
I know. Like I want him to ask me for a beer. You know, I'm like, I know you're only 13. At least ask me for something worth it.
Yeah. Here's a porno mag and a beer. Now shut the fuck up.
You're not drinking a Monster in my presence unless you mix some vodka with it.
Be a man.
All right.
What's been going on with you, Clarkster?
If you're a friend of the show, you might know that I have a problem where when I think most people go or they do some kind of coping technique, I drop F-bombs. That it calms me down, makes me happy. I'm going to go the entire show without cursing.
I don't think you can do it. I think you've probably already broken it and we weren't paying attention.
Well, after right now, I'm going to go the entire show without cursing. I'm not going to say a single F word. Okay, now to clarify the rules of this game, I can still say things that are offensive, but they cannot be like 4-letter words. Like I can still say rape. I can say things that make me laugh that are not appropriate.
Just not curse words.
Yeah, I can't say like damn, shit, cunt, bitch, stuff like that.
You already broke it just now.
Well, no, I mean starting now.
Starting now.
You're terrible at this.
Well, let's clarify a little bit. We're not okay. Let me tell you who I hate. I do not understand. I do not like this person, Howard Stern, who is, heralded as the talk radio god. Look, I've listened to Howard Stern a lot, and he is a shock jock for the sake of being a shock jock. Now, this worked in 1993. I understand why it worked when you're, but now you have all these people out there saying offensive things just to be offensive. If it seems like that's what we're doing, that's not it. We've had conversations about this. I'm not trying to say things to get a rise out of you. I'm not. And I'm also not trying to be super PC. I'm just being me, That's what fat girls say. I'm just me, So I think that's kind of the direction we wanted to go with the show. Is that right, Clark?
Yeah, I mean, we just kind of wanted it to be average conversation that we have every day. But the problem is it is highly offensive. We tone it down for the show.
Well, and a lot of our listeners, too, guys, we're all cooped up in an office all day, all three of us. And, when you're in the office setting, you have to be I have employees that, that I manage, and you have to be politically correct, and you can't say certain things. And, if you stub your toe, if you yell pussy faggot, people just won't appreciate that in a normal business setting. So, generally, whenever we get a chance to get out of the office is when we really try to explore the space a little bit. And, poor Tamara, after work, we'll be sitting there and I'll just start randomly dropping F-bombs for no apparent reason just to kind of let the tension out.
Yeah, once again, we're not trying to offend. We're not trying to play nice. We're just this is how most people talk. Look, man, I'm not 50 years old, but I'm an adult, and I've talked to a lot of other adults. And really, when you get them loosey-goosey, this is how everybody talks. I think we're doing just probably about what we need to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I do worry that I come off as too offensive, and, nobody just wants to hear random F-bombs in their ear. Even I don't, over and over and over again. It's just not something that's enjoyable.
Yeah, but see, then I go back to, there is always an audience for everything. But, I mean, once again, Howard Stern has never really said anything too insightful. I've heard I listen to a lot of talk radio. I hear a lot of people say some really insightful things, and then they say the C word, and that's fine. Man, I've never really heard him, drop a knowledge nugget on me. It's just girls sitting on Sybians, and I'm supposed to enjoy that on the radio. I don't understand. I don't know. I mean, am I missing something with him?
I was watching a YouTube video of Howard Stern. He was interviewing some porn star or something, and he was like, "Well, turn around, let me see your ass." I'm like, "Oh, dude, you're 50. Come on."
Yeah,
it's cool, but at the same time, is that really what shock jock is to you?
Oh, for me too. I look at it from a business standpoint. The time Howard Stern kind of ascended to where he was a lot different. There wasn't that kind of experience in radio. Everything was very structured, very corporate. So that was kind of his stick. That's kind of what made him set aside, what made him super popular. He's got such a cult following now he can really do anything he wants to. I mean, he's got the Baba Booey guy on there. I mean, that guy's he's useless. He provides nothing to the show, but it's all the brand. He's built that brand up now, and I'm with you, Ryan. I'm not a huge fan of his either. You know, I think it's overdone. I think it's too deliberate. I think it's you know, it's just it stopped being entertaining. You know, about 10 years ago.
I will say that one thing I have gleaned from him, he honestly will ask anybody any question. He'll get someone so famous in there, he's got no problem. He'll spit it out, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's the question, because that's the question. Those series of questions are really the questions that people have, that people don't want to ask.
Right, like Farrah Abraham, the teen mom who did a porn video. He got her to say, I masturbate to my own porn video. No one else would ever ask her that. Like, that's insane, you know? But that's
I'm fairly certain at some point he was like, honey, you know what I do to you? You know what I do to you, honey? Look at that ass.
Yeah.
Look at that ass. He does that so much, man. It's just so played out.
Yeah. I think he came in at the right time. He capitalized on a market that did not exist. And
Sure.
I think now we're seeing the fallout of everybody trying to be him. And I hate that people they'll listen to me, and I understand why, but they will interpret me as trying to mimic Stern. You know, when I just have what I consider a real conversation on here, I really hate that because I don't want to be that at all.
Yeah, and I think we set ourselves apart a little bit. But at the end of the day, my whole thing is I realize I curse too much, and it doesn't really add any substance to the conversation. So I'm going to try to ease off of it, see what happens. And it's kind of like dieting. Whenever you go without for a really long time, buckle up, because it's going to get bad real quick.
And I'm shocked for any of the listeners that don't really know Clark. You know, this is going to be truly a test for him. I think. I just can't. I don't know. I don't mean to doubt you, brother.
No, you're doubting me, but I get it.
Yeah, it's kind of it would be kind of like a vial of cocaine in Whitney Houston's hotel room. You know, like at some point it's going to be gone.
Yeah,
Clark,
you don't need an expiration date on that vial of cocaine.
Clark, if you make it through the rest of this podcast out cursing, sir, I will send you some gluten-free spaghetti noodles.
That cost $70.
Yeah, you could sell them on eBay for $32, man.
So should we do something if maybe the listeners in the chat room can respond a little bit, but can we do something if you do break it, like some kind of wager, something you have to do? What do you think, Ryan?
I think that
What's the bet?
if Clark says a curse word, we spin the wheel of shame on Everybody Has a Podcast, and he has to do the activity that it lands on.
It's just all autofellatio, isn't it?
Yeah.
Break the deal, spin the wheel. Break the deal, spin the wheel.
Yeah, I mean, if
Well,
somebody give me a wager, I'll do it. I don't care.
Clark, we've got two beautiful ladies who are paranormal investigators. Let's get them on the show, and let's see if you can make it through this interview without cursing.
That's not fair.
So, guys, I'm super excited about our next guest. Beyond just Amanda Bynes and fart jokes, I really do want to take this podcast and have like some really neat conversations with neat people, different walks of life, and maybe some wives. Who knows? With that being said, we're super, super excited about our next guest. We have from Texas Ghost and Spirit Intervention, we have Sarah and Felicia. How are you, ladies?
Doing great.
Thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be a really exciting conversation.
Thanks for having us. We're so excited to be here.
So Texas Ghost and Spirit Interventions, based out of Austin, Texas. And I guess the way you guys described it was you're not technically like you would see on the show Ghost Hunters, right? You're not so much interested in the scientific evidence as much as just resolving the problem or kind of what's going on. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, we were paranormal investigators for quite some time, and we still love that. It's still very cool to work with all that cool stuff and get evidence like that. But we realized that people really do need help, and we'd go into a case and people would call us for help as a paranormal investigator. We go there, get evidence, and say, okay, here's your evidence. Yes, you're haunted. See ya.
Oh, okay.
Stop by. We realized really quickly that we're just kind of leaving them where they're at. We're not helping them. So we decided to branch off and do this. And it's kind of an intervention. We go in there and we like to say we're helping the living and the dead.
Would you guys typically get referred from like an investigation team, or would you typically refer an investigation team? How would that typically play out?
Well, it's kind of both, actually. I mean, we get cases through our own website as well as from ghost hunters and paranormal investigators.
Gotcha. So I guess we'll kind of start at the beginning here. And once again, please excuse our questions. They might seem ignorant. Well, they are. You are both sensitive. So can you explain what is a sensitive? When did you first realize that you were a sensitive? How does that work?
A sensitive is somebody that has abilities that, typically you're born with it and it runs in your family. You may not know it does, but it does. But, you could talk or could hear and speak to spirits, see spirits, just other abilities that not everybody in this world has. Or if they do, they're just not in touch with it, and you are. As far as me, I realized that I was sensitive when I was probably around 12. And, that's when I realized, ooh, something is different. And, after that, as I grew older, you tend to, your sensitivities tend to heighten just a little bit as you grow. They get more because you're involved in society and you're around other people, meeting new people and new experiences. And when I got involved in the paranormal field, it just went nuts. And I specifically can pick up on living energy and spirit energy, so I can feel, I can read people pretty well, and pick up on them and feel their energy. I can tell between spirit and living energy. If I walk into a room, I can tell, I think the energy that's in here is really human, living energy. It's not really spirit. And I'm also very empathic. So I can feel emotions of other people. So if somebody's nervous or anxious or depressed or anything like that, I can actually pick up on that stuff.
Wow.
And it can be overwhelming at times, and you just learn throughout the years how to control it.
And as for me, I work as the medium clairvoyant, and I've been seeing, hearing, and communicating with spirits as long as I can remember.
Is that scary at first? Like you mentioned, you guys mentioned 12 years old earlier.
Well, she was 12. I mean, for me, I didn't realize other people didn't see them until I was probably about 7.
Oh, wow. That actually sounds scarier than it probably really is.
Well, growing up, seeing spirits, you don't know that there's something different about it until somebody points it out to you.
Gotcha.
And as a kid, I never saw anything negative or scary, but at night, for some reason, I would get absolutely terrified.
I read on your Facebook that you work with children sometimes. So is it common to children will see negative things? Does that happen?
Yes. A lot of the cases we have that involve children, the spirits sometimes are negative. So my goal is to go in and help that child, give them tools that they can use that work with any belief or religious beliefs. So they have some sort of, I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for is. So they have something to hold on to that they feel like they're in control of.
Sure.
Because the worst thing to tell a child is their imagination. And growing up, that's what I was told. And it's very hurtful. It's very confusing. And I don't want any children to ever feel that way. So.
Yeah, I can imagine. Wow.
Well, and based on both your experience, how does religion play into it with your clients, and also kind of your personal perspective? And I assume you guys have a pretty unique thought on probably the afterlife. If you could share that with us.
Well, I really think that what we do, we work with any type of religion,
Sure.
and we work based off of what our client's religion is, if they have one. There's people out there that don't have a religion, but they are being haunted, or they have an attachment. But, we really try to work with everybody. And we have lots of tools, and we always leave a client's house with tools for them to make sure that they have what they need to, after we leave, they know what to do. They feel confident. They know that they can take care of whatever comes their way. Usually it's somebody that's we've had a lot of clients that are actually sensitive, and when we finally tell them, look, you're going to have to live the rest of your life like this. It's not going to go away. It's not a disease. You're sensitive. Ghosts are going to come around. so you need to control it. And it doesn't matter what the religion is.
Yeah.
So they really we're pretty educated and know our stuff when it comes to religion, and we try to do what we can.
Yeah. And we always try to work within the client's religious beliefs, because that is what holds power to them. So it's just a matter of adapting to their belief and giving them the tools they need with whatever their religious icons or whatever you want to call it are.
Sure.
So it's interchangeable to any belief system.
Absolutely. So it sounds like the end game is basically the same. It's just kind of the method to make the client feel a bit more comfortable during the process.
And
Absolutely.
give them something they can be proactive.
So, obviously, what you guys do is a very kind of conscientious. It's a very controversial issue. So, basically, how do you, with the general populace, tell people, hey, you do have something going on?
Well, sorry.
No, and how do you tell people, so, hey, you have something going on, and you have an issue, and here's how we're going to cleanse it? How do you get awareness out to people that there's an actual issue?
Well, if they contact us, they already know there's an issue. We just basically go in, we try to find a logical reason for the activity. And if we cannot find one, then we try to find a spiritual reason.
When they come to you, do they use the word ghost, or they just say, hey, I don't know what's going on, or do they use the word spirit? How would they typically come to you, do you think?
They really come, they use haunted, or we have a questionnaire that they'll answer, and on there is, do you feel like you have an attachment? And it's a yes or no question, and then they have to add details. Most of the time it's I think I'm haunted, or I think there's a spirit following me. That's usually spirit following me is pretty much the most that we get. That's usually what people will say.
What is your perspective on, all the people that I hang with, if they don't believe in spirits or ghosts, they're at least open to it. But I know a lot of people that, I would say, and you let me know what you think, I think the majority of the population still does not believe or is not aware. Why do you think that might be? I mean, particularly as we have all this technology turning on now, and we have all this evidence, some of which you guys sent us, which we'll send a link out to here pretty quick. Why do you think the general populace still is like, oh, ghosts,
Because they haven't had the experience.
Yeah, I think I think it's how people are brought up, how you're raised, and then as you get older, you start having your own views and your own belief system, and your own ways of thinking. And I think it's good that everybody be skeptical. I'm skeptic. Sarah's skeptic. You have to have that part of you. But I don't know. I kind of see it as there's a lot of people now, it seems, that are really open to the paranormal. When before it was very taboo. It was extremely taboo. You didn't talk about this.
Right.
20 years ago, you didn't go hunt for ghosts and put this on TV. This was, you just didn't do that. So I think now it's really a popular thing. People see it on TV and see the TV shows. They see, you can Google ghost hunting, with a zip code, and there's probably 20 or more in your area, groups out there to help. So I really think that people do believe. Some of them may not want to say they believe, but, and those that don't, I agree with Sarah. I really think that they just haven't had the experience that, come with us sometime.
Well, and also, I would say at least half of our cases, people will tell us, I didn't believe in this stuff until I moved into this house.
Right.
We've even been contacted by people that consider themselves atheists,
right,
to remove entities off of them or possession cases. So it's just, I think it's an experience thing. They just haven't had the experience, so understandable, that they wouldn't believe.
It's understandable that they wouldn't believe. It's just amazing whenever you walk into a place and the first thing they think of is, I feel like I'm going crazy.
Yeah.
I really feel like I have lost my mind. And, they are just so absolutely welcoming to us coming in because we believe them. We believe what's going on, and there are certain clients that we get, it's unfortunate, but not everybody is haunted as they say they are.
Right.
There could be other issues there. So we have to figure that out. And, it's a lot of trying to put the pieces together with this person, a lot of interviewing before we go over there. I'm the one that talks with them. Just really trying to get a grasp on who they are as a person to make sure that what we're dealing with is safe.
And not psychological.
And not psychological.
I'm sure that's a slippery slope too. You gotta have to be delicate with matters of mental health and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
So kind of a fun question. I saw the video you sent Ryan, and let me tell you, that was extremely intense. So what would you say was the most intense or scariest thing you guys have had so far in your career doing this so far?
Well,
yeah, I think we've had a couple of things, but that one specifically was the most intense because it was so out of left field.
It was unexpected.
Yeah,
sure.
it was something that was very random, and that man wanted to come after me.
So for the listeners at home, we'll post a link, obviously, but could you
I'll,
quickly describe kind of what transpired? Because I'm telling you, it's really compelling video.
Well, I was communicating with a male spirit who was very dominant and not letting any of the other spirits talk, but yet he wouldn't give up information. So when that happens, a lot of times is what we do. We call it kind of like poking around to hit a sore spot to kind of get them talking,
That's similar to provoking?
Emotional rise out of them, because if I can pick up on an emotion, I can get information. So I leave Felicia in charge of that because I never know anything about the case we're going on because I don't want to be influenced. So you want to tell them like...
As far this specifically, I'll try to be brief. It was very long. This was only just a brief part of the entire walkthrough that we did. But this was just basically trying to communicate with the spirit. She had already picked up on energy there. There were a few spirits that were there. 1 female, 2 male. The 1 male in this specific video that was affecting Sarah was a very angry man.
Hated women.
He did not like women whatsoever. And at the time, there was only women in the house when we were there. So, our job is to try to kind of peel back layers of an onion, trying to get to the core of it, try to figure out why you're here, deal with it in compassion to try to help this spirit move on. If he's angry, what are you mad about? Maybe we can walk through the process. It's kind of like counseling. You're counseling a spirit,
All it goes therapy.
Yeah.
So when they come to you, is it more of a slow buildup, or is it usually kind of a flood that we kind of saw?
It really depends on the spirit and how emotional they are. Because if the emotions are intense, I channel. That means I talk as if I'm them. They don't possess me or anything. However, in that one, lost control. But most of the time, I'm like a radio. I'm just repeating what I'm hearing, But when the emotions are strong, that radio comes alive.
Well, it looked like to me, too, it took a pretty serious physical toll on you. Can you kind of elaborate a little bit on kind of the after effects and kind of how that impacts you?
I totally had to change underwear. I was traumatized, to be honest. For at least a good week, I could not close my eyes without reliving that moment. I was very traumatized. I felt very violated. I've never in my 42 years have had anything like that happen, ever. So,
the reason why it happened so quickly was because he wasn't cooperating with us. He wasn't answering our questions. He was just basically cussing us out, telling us it was none of our business, get the hell out of his house, just all that kind of stuff, and finally, I wanted some real answers. We had heard that he had killed his sister and buried her in the backyard. At the time, I thought it was wife, but
I thought it was wife.
So I asked that question, Mr. Ratliff, did you kill your sister or wife and bury her in the backyard? And then you see what we get.
Yeah, he jumped me. It was like so not expected.
So
It
so
seems
that
like to
was
me you hit a nerve.
that was from you
Absolutely.
channeling him.
I
to
absolutely
possession.
hit a nerve, and it scarred me for life, really.
Yeah, it was like a bomb exploded, and when he took over, I already remember thinking, why am I talking and my body is moving and I'm not doing it? I remember thinking that, and I was so focused on Felicia. I was like, if I get to her, I'm going to hurt her. And I think she was trying to figure out how to take me down without hurting me.
I was just looking around trying to think, okay, if she comes at me or he comes at me, how am I going to handle this?
Yeah.
So it was very emotional because none of us expected it.
Yeah.
And, he basically violated her body.
Yeah.
And, didn't get permission.
Yeah.
She didn't.
I don't do trans medium stuff, which is letting them use your body. I don't do that. But I knew if I got to her, I could probably pick her up and throw her across the room. I felt so strong.
Wow.
And I just knew to get the focus off of her and throw him off of me. So when you hear me scream, that is me throwing him off of me. It's called the release scream. We get that a lot in possession and spirit detachment cases. You can't help it. You just scream.
So that went from channeling to possession. Is that how we want to phrase that?
Well, I didn't even get a chance to channel him.
He
just jumped me.
How common?
He jumped me.
How common do you guys see possessions? How does that work?
Oh gosh, possession. Possession is a very, very strong word. Yes, it does happen. It can happen to absolutely anybody, but it's very few and far between. As far as demonic possession, that's very, very few and far between. We really deal with more attachments where there's a spirit that are attached with people, and they immediately go to thinking, oh my God, there's something inside of me, it's demonic. I've taken pictures, I can see myself in the mirror, it's demonic. When really it could be just an inhuman spirit, and doesn't necessarily mean it's nice, but it is an attachment, and it's not necessarily a possession. We haven't really had a whole lot of possession cases. I don't think. Well,
No, we've had.
I don't think we've had one possession case. Really,
Not
just
full
attachment.
on.
Yeah,
Well, it would be more of an attachment, and with the attachment, imagine a leech,
Right.
on someone, but that leech can influence their mind and control them at certain points. It doesn't mean the leech is inside the body, but it's able to manipulate the mind.
Would you say a certain group of people might be more susceptible, like people who might be sensitive and don't know it, or things of that nature that draw spirits to them at a more frequent basis?
absolutely. Oh yeah. I try to. We try to help a lot of people that have abilities because once they realize that they are sensitive, the first thing they say is, can you help me? So we try to explain to them, number one, you have to get control of your sensitivities. You have to know how to control everything about it. And number two is you're like a beacon. You're spirits, if you're the one person that they've been looking for. They have a message. They're going to find somebody that can help them with that.
Yeah.
So they're attracted to sensitives that way, and to help them relay their message, whatever it is.
Yeah. Imagine if you're invisible and you finally find the one person that can see you.
Wow. Yeah.
Do you ladies struggle with them kind of going home with you? Like you notice some paranormal activity, when you go back to your house, or you try to go back to your normal life. I assume that they would latch onto you and try to utilize you as a tool as much as possible.
That's a very good question, because it sure is a thought that we have and we get concerned of. But we're very protected. Before we go in any cases, we do protection rituals on our own privately. We make sure that before we walk into our house that, we say something to not, spirits cannot come in our home. I pretty much guard my house, and I cleanse it and set up boundaries, and only good, loving spirits are welcome in my house that are protective, and nothing negative is welcome here. So I like to think that if anything tries to come in here negative, it's like they're going to bounce right off this invisible wall to them, and they can't get through it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I have had a case where a spirit followed me home, but I also do readings for people where I connect them with their loved ones. So I have a certain policy at my house. And I did have a spirit follow me home one time from a case who wasn't ready to cross over yet. And it was funny because I thought my husband had come into the bathroom. I was showering.
Oh, is this the one in the shower?
And I heard this man's foot.
This ghost has the right idea in my book.
And I hear this man walking around in the bathroom, and I'm like, did my husband come in? He never does that, right? And I turn around in the shower, and there's the spirit from the case I was just on, and I was just so caught off guard, and I was like, excuse me, this is kind of a private moment?
Is
it clothed or not clothed?
Is he from The Ghost Gone Wild?
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm like, you do know I'm married, right? But we worked it out. Oh, stop it.
I have 2 questions based on some of the things you mentioned here. So first of all, you use one of you used the term inhuman spirit or inhuman entity. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Okay. To me, when I say inhuman spirit, it is a spirit that never has been human. So that could fall into pretty much any category. You know, you got your elementals, you've got your what some people refer to as demons,
Rosie O'Donnell,
etc. Do what?
Rosie O'Donnell.
There you go.
I believe she's still alive, Clark.
But then there's also spirits that we've encountered a couple of times on cases where they are human, but they've been, let's see how I put it. It's hard to put into words. They're so negative, and they've been dwelling in this negative energy for so long that their vibration becomes lower. And so they, you know, you can't destroy energy. So it almost alters their energy to where they don't feel human anymore. Wow. It's almost like they've lost a part of themselves that makes them human.
That's
kind
deep.
Of creepy, to be
it's
honest.
very creepy. You know, we've dealt with cases before. I can remember one case where we had, you could actually feel the energy of the spirit where it's almost confusing and you may feel a little manipulated, but then you realize after hours of trying to figure it out that the spirit is on the verge of becoming inhuman. So you've got the human energy where you're like, oh, we're dealing with the human spirit.
But there's something cold and empty.
Yeah, so you're not sure if it's a different spirit or if it's the same energy from, you know, the good human spirit that we were feeling.
Wow.
So it was like on the verge of becoming very inhuman.
Something else.
Yeah.
It's really...
I've read that the shadow people phenomena is very similar to that. Like you're kind of a cross between super interesting.
Yeah.
You mentioned crossing over. So what, in your experience, is crossing over? Crossing over to where? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, when I cross over spirits, to me, they go into the light. I refer to it as heaven. People might refer to it as something else. And basically is, you know, with ghosts, they don't see the light or they wouldn't still be here, you know. So what I do is I do ghost therapy and I encourage them to release so they can move on and quit being in between realms and go to their rightful place, which would be in the light. And how I do that is by visualizing the light in my mind so they can see it too, so they can find their way. Does that make sense?
It kind of does. Now, is there an opposite? Do they only go to the light, or is there another place to go as well?
I have had to return things to other places where people have summoned things and didn't send them back home. So I call it the underworld, where I send certain entities that are not from the light back home. Because I believe there's a balance. And if you don't need to destroy something, then, you know, hold the balance the best you can, you know.
Well, I'm sure too, with the popularity of a lot of the mainstream now has accepted the paranormal investigation, and I'm sure there's probably an issue with a lot of people kind of doing it at home, ad hoc, doing EVP sessions or playing with a Ouija board or whatever the case may be. How dangerous is that? I've read and I've heard that you can invite something into your home, half-heartedly, but you feel like when you turn the voice recorder off, that it can it's like turning an Xbox off, like it's over. But I've read that you can invite things that you're not necessarily trying to bring in, but you can bring in some darker energy.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're trying to communicate with something that you really don't know anything about, and therefore, if you don't know anything about it, it could be good or bad. And we get a lot of cases where they've dabbled in the dark arts with seances or witchcraft, or they've played with Ouija boards. That's the main one, is Ouija board. And if you don't do it correctly, even if you do it correctly, I don't like Ouija boards, so I have a different view on it. But yeah, it's a tool. You're opening a gateway for anything to come in. You can't control what comes in. You can't say, okay, I only want to talk to good spirits, because bad spirits are very manipulating. They can make you think that they're good, just so they can come in and torment you.
Although,
who the hell approved?
There.
Go ahead.
What was that?
And I said, who the hell approved selling the Ouija board at Kmart for $19.99 for during the 90s?
I think
a bad idea.
I think Milton Bradley actually is the manufacturer. It could be Parker Brothers, but it's made by a game board company. But I read that the older ones were homemade and different.
Oh.
Yeah, the older ones were homemade. I used to make my own, and you could make it with a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be an actual board. So you can make it any way you want. It's however you're using it, it's still a tool. Good spirits want to communicate. So if you're allowing that, they're going to use whatever you're using it for. And bad spirits as well. They want to take over.
I think that, just with any tool, if you have the experience and you know how to use it properly, you're going to be fine. But for people who don't know what they're doing and just think it's a game or it's fun, that's where it gets dangerous.
So it sounds like to me that you guys kind of deal with a lot of intelligent, I'll use the word haunting, but intelligent paranormal. What's the mix between residual and intelligent? I've read that there's residual hauntings that are just like kind of almost like slideshows that are on a loop that kind of come back and forth, and then obviously you have the intelligent energy that can intellectually interact with you. What's the mix between there? Like, how often do you see one or the other?
We can both touch on that. I think I think we deal with more intelligent hauntings because we're able to communicate with a lot of them, and they can communicate back, and which is just phenomenal. It's an amazing thing to be able to connect with another spirit, and they have something to say. There's a reason why they're there. So, we deal with a lot of the intelligent hauntings. We also deal with residual.
Yeah. I was going to say, as far as residual, it is, like you said, it's like it's being played back. Once the energy builds, it releases and it plays. It builds back up, releases and plays. But as a medium, I've had one situation where I disrupted that loop and actually found that there was an intelligent spirit that was just trapped in a cycle.
Wow.
Reliving. And by disrupting it, I was able to cross them over.
Wow, that is interesting.
Part of our job is to help the spirits.
Yeah.
So if there's a spirit that is it's a residual haunting, and they're going on autoplay 24/7, doing the same thing they did, whether it's, walking around the house like they used to, or repeating their death. They need help. So our job is to try to pull that energy to us, to connect with them, and do our best to show them the light and send them home so they can rest and be at peace and be with their loved ones and move on, because nobody deserves to be doing that over and over and over again.
For eternity.
I think mine would just be like eating pizza rolls and watching the Ricky Lake show.
That's
maybe you
different.
got the beer.
Yeah, it's not really that scary. It's just really depressing.
Yeah, my luck is when I pass over that, I'm going to meet a really douchey medium, and he's not going to help me out at all. It's going to kind of like I'm in the line at the DMV. He's just going to kind of ignore me.
He wants to fight you the entire time.
And that's when I'll turn into a poltergeist and start throwing his shit.
There you go, stacking shit everywhere. That's it.
What? So, and I read on your Facebook, you guys. First of all, if you're listening to this, hi Mom. You need to check out these ladies' Facebook. Go ahead and give them a like.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, most definitely. But there's some really neat stories. I guess you guys, as you work your cases, you kind of post what happened there. Facebook.com/Texas Ghost and Spirit Intervention, I believe.
Yeah,
Is
that's
that right?
it.
Yeah. So everybody in the chat room right now, please go give them a like if you haven't already, and if you're listening to this, please do that. I was reading through some of these stories though, and you mentioned talk of different dimensions or realms, and I'm very curious about this, about your thoughts on this. I've heard this, in things I've read or seen. I'm interested in your thoughts. What is this? How does this work? What is a different dimension?
Okay, well, let me just say I'm not an expert, but I'm going to base this on my personal experience as a medium and clairvoyant. Okay? So as far as dimensions, to me, I feel, if you're looking at a horizontal line, I feel there's levels going up and there's levels going down. And to me, those are the dimensions. And the higher up the level, the closer to, I'm going to refer to it as the mind of God. And the lower down, obviously, the further away from the mind of God. I'm trying to, it's so hard to put this into words.
Is it more of a feeling to you?
The color,
Yeah.
So when I am communicating with spirits, I'm scanning these levels, almost like a radio scanning frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, those are the dimensions. Does that make sense?
Just the different levels that they operate on, basically.
Yes.
Well, kind of a follow-up to that. When you say you see them, do you see the frequency? Do you feel the presence, or how does that kind of work? I'm very interested in that. Does it vary from time to time, or how do you guys see them?
Well, I don't really see it as much as I feel it, and it's almost like a raise in my vibration and a lowering of my vibration, depending where I'm going. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Absolutely.
What?
Because I'm not sure how to explain that.
and there are multiple dimensions, right? Is that
yeah,
how you would describe it?
To me, there are layers. So, yes, I couldn't tell you how many layers there are, but I feel the different layers.
Based on what level or layer dimension they're currently in, does that change things about how they interact, or is it just kind of all the same? It's just different frequency to pick up on.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I know
it's hard, right?
Yeah. Depending on does the dimension that they're operating in, does that change things? Does that change how they can affect things on our end? Is there any distinction in the different dimension or level they're operating on, or is it just kind of all the same? Just a different. You have to talk to them a little bit differently.
Well, it's,
Why don't
That's
you
a
give
good
him the
question.
example of the case that we were on that you actually did scan and you found when you found that entity?
yeah.
She did a scanning. We were at a case in where were we? I can't remember. Anyway, we were at a case. We had so many. They all kind of run together after a while. But she was, we were really trying to find this entity or spirit, whatever was there, and we could feel something there, but it was very faint. The energy was extremely faint. But when we would leave, they would experience stuff like flying off the shelves and glasses breaking and being choked, but nothing when we're there, of course, which happens a lot. So anyway, Sarah had found, she started scanning the levels.
And I always start with going up higher, because when I connect people with their loved ones that crosses over, that has crossed over, then they're obviously on a higher vibration. But then I got to a point where I was like, I wonder if I can drop levels. And as soon as I dropped a level lower than what I'm used to being on, I could see the spirit plain as day.
Wow.
So the lower the level or vibration?
It was just flying under my radar because I've never really scanned the lower frequencies because never had to, really.
So do the lower levels or vibrations, do those actually mean more, I don't want to use the word evil.
Well, benevolent and malevolent. Yeah.
Yes.
Benevolent intent? Is that normally how it goes?
Yeah, and they're very delusional and they tend to be suffering. You know, they lose a sense of themselves, really. And anytime you have a haunting and people talk about getting sick, it's because they're encountering a spirit that's a lower vibration. Our bodies are not used to vibrating on that level, so it will physically make you ill. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it's so hard to explain.
Like different vibrations, we know that different vibrations or sounds, which are really just vibrations anyways, affect the body, the mind, and theoretically the spirit in different ways anyways, so it makes perfect sense that lower vibration or certain vibration of spirits would have the same effect.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and so most of our listeners probably, when they think of paranormal or they think of communicating with some kind of spirit or energy, they probably think of like the Paranormal Activity movies and kind of what pop culture puts out there. Obviously, in that movie, the Uber Demons is kicking everyone's ass. It's basically Ghost Rambo. But how often do they get physical? Is it have you encountered an apparition or energy level that other than obviously making you feel strange vibration wise, can they get physical?
Absolutely, yeah. They can if they have enough energy that they've stored up. They can definitely if they're good or bad or what it is, whatever they are, if they want to get your attention, they'll get your attention. If they're going to pull your hair, I had my hair pulled at the Stanley Hotel when we were just doing this little mock investigation, and we weren't there to do an investigation. It was just me and a bunch of friends, and it wasn't really an investigation. I shouldn't say that. We were taking pictures. We were going in places we shouldn't have been, and we went into this one area. Live Sci-Fi was there and allowed us to go in, and before they started doing their airing of their investigation. So we went down this little cave area, and it was a cave. It was underground, and we started going in there, and I started getting the creeps really quickly, and every hair was standing up. And before I went to turn around to look for my friend because I didn't hear her behind me, and I thought, oh great, I'm in here by myself. As I was turning around, something pulled the hair underneath. I have a lot of hair, and it literally went underneath my hair and pulled my hair underneath my hair, right at my head. Just pulled me back. I remember my head just going back, and at first I thought it was my friend, and then I remembered, wait a minute, it's just me. And that's whenever I said, okay, don't touch me again. I get the point. I'm leaving. So that's when I left, and so. It was trying to get my attention, whether it was good or bad, I don't know. I didn't take time to figure it out. I just knew that it pulled my hair. It wasn't nice.
Well, another question I had kind of follow up on that is a personal anecdote for me. There's some strange things happen at the house I live in, and it's been going on for quite a while, and I always noticed it around the same time at night. It's around 3 a.m. And I've heard all the pop culture stuff about that's the witching hour or whatever they call it. But can you elaborate a little bit on that? Because for me, I'm super interested in it. Obviously, I'm a believer because I'm experiencing things at the house, and I'm not really sure what they are, to be honest with you. But can you kind of elaborate on that?
Well, I don't know why that happens, but it is a pattern. I mean, we've noticed it too, and they say it has to do with the location of the moon and, that kind of thing. And just, it has to do with a lot of things, I guess. But I don't really know why in between 3 and 3:30 is really the witching hour. And I'm not really sure why that happens. I don't really have an answer for you for that, But I have noticed it with I've witnessed it with myself. And I've noticed it with other clients that have contacted us. Everything always usually happens at night, but the biggest part of it It starts always around 3 o'clock, 3 to 3:30.
See, I never have any. I don't think anything's happening in my house. But I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning all the time, kind of uneasy, and I go right back to sleep because I'm a lazy bastard. But this is weird because now you say that, I do wake up at 3 o'clock all the time, feeling kind of weird.
And there's been a lot of weird things for me, resulting around 3 a.m. I'll share a few things that are happening at the house that have happened in the past. My brother moved in with me for a short period of time, and I had an empty bedroom. And my brother's a big, tough guy. He's a biker, tattooed up. The guy would barely even go in my house unless there was other people there because he said doors were slamming and all types of stuff. And I wrote it off as like, he's just messing with me. Well, one day, and this didn't happen at 3 a.m., but one day I'm asleep and I'm taking a nap before work. And I noticed that my door handle was jiggling, like somebody was trying to get into my bedroom. So I jumped up, and I grabbed like a weapon because I knew I was the only one home. I opened the door, and there was nothing there, right? So immediately I walked the perimeter of the house, but then I went back and checked my phone, and I'd missed my alarm to go to work. So whatever it was literally, I think, waking me up so I wouldn't be late for work. At least that's how I perceived it, And it's just interesting. That stuff is so interesting to me because, like, it's clearly a benevolent thing,
Yeah.
And maybe the reason he was slamming doors is because my brother was kind of a douche, So I love him to death, but
Well, and a lot of times, a lot of hauntings, a lot of them really are loved ones. For your case, it could have been a loved one or somebody that you knew that had passed on, being like, "Dude, get up."
I certainly hope they can't see everything.
Let's see. God, there's just so many questions. We could talk to you guys for hours. I know.
We could talk for hours.
Yeah, this is so freaking interesting to me just because, you guys take it to a new level. Like you see the stuff on TV and you see a lot of things, TV shows and people are walking around with EMF detectors and doing EVPs and everything. But, you guys make contact and you're really providing a service for both the client and the entity. And that's really unique. The service you guys provide is extremely unique. So I think it's really cool. You guys are doing good work.
Oh, well, thank you so much, and that's our intention. Our services are completely free, and we're just there to help. And we learn as we go too. There's nobody. If anybody tells you that they are experts on the paranormal, that they know everything there is to know, that's not true. Nobody can be an expert on the paranormal, even if you are sensitive. So everybody learns as you go, and we teach as we go, and
Share.
All we're here for is just to help people because we've been haunted. We've had attachments. We know how it feels. And, if you have an investigation and someone goes and does an all-nighter there at your house and, you just feel like they didn't help at all, maybe they made it a little worse, give us a ring,
Sure.
Contact us on Facebook or go to our website, texasghostandspirit.com, and you can. Right now, we're having some problems with our forms, but my email is on there, so you can always email me, and I will email right back. But that's what we're here for. We're here to help.
Awesome.
You ladies got time for one more question?
Sure.
This is the one I've been dying to ask. Do you guys allow guests or visitors to kind of join to be? I'm sure you want to make sure that they're cool, but do you allow that? Because it seems so super interesting to me. Something that and I could see people wanting to kind of come along if that was approved.
Well, it's a little tricky because a lot of this stuff. You saw the video.
Sure.
It can be very, very intense, and you have to be on your up and up. So, it depends on what kind of case that we've got. We may take somebody, but we're not really in the in to take anybody on just to come and check it out. It's too dangerous.
Yeah, Bill, would you want one of those things following you home?
Absolutely, because it can happen.
Yeah,
It can happen. You'd be surprised, and we would just feel horrible if we brought somebody on that wasn't protected. You have to protect yourself, and we brought somebody on with us to a case, and they came home and called me later and said, "Holy shit, I have a ghost in my house."
It's here now.
You're just gonna have to make sure that you record all of these and post them that way that we'll link them to our website because I can't that one little snippet I saw was so interesting. I can't wait to see more of your content.
We'll put that up on our Facebook, our website as well. And once again, you should be liking these ladies' Facebook page anyways, so we're gonna put links there. A couple real quick questions, then we'll leave you alone here. Lauren Travis in the chat room asks, basically, Are some of these spirits asking for help from you? Do they need you to perform like a certain task for them? Do they need something from you for closure? Has that ever happened?
Yes. I have been asked for help. And we actually had something really cool happen a while back, where I had this female spirit show up to my house and give me 2 pages of information. Okay, I got her name, what she wanted to happen. She wanted to be in contact with her son because her daughter couldn't handle it, and all this stuff. And then a few days later, Felicia called me and said, "Oh, I have a friend who thinks their house is haunted, and I hope you don't mind. I told the spirit to come see you."
Oh, wow.
By the way. I'm like, gee, thanks for letting me know. So I give her this information. She goes, "Oh, my God, that's the spirit." So the interesting thing about it is that her friend's house, they found 2 boxes of family photos and birth announcements and stuff like that up in the attic that got left behind.
Wow.
And this woman's spirit came to me, gave me information, and then Felicia and Sherry looked up and found her son. We met with him, gave him the boxes of photos and stuff, and gave him messages from his mother.
Oh my God, it was the most amazing experience I think I've ever had in this field.
I mean, he cried, we cried, and the important thing that she said the most was, "This is the sign that someone's been waiting for." And he said, ever since my mom died, however many years ago it was, he's like, "I've always asked her for a sign, like flickering a light or something." And I said, "Well, she did something much bigger. She reached out to strangers to make sure you got these photos."
Wow.
Oh, very cool.
I mean, so yeah, they do.
And she was not letting up.
No, she was very persistent.
It was actually our friends that just bought this house that was previously her house, and they contacted me about it. And when we went over there, there was a reason. We were actually over there to begin with at a little party, and they brought down everything. They said, "Oh, we have these boxes of anonymous photos. We don't know who they are. The owner left them here." We tried to contact him, and I guess he doesn't want them. So, of course, we started going through all this because they're experiencing paranormal. So we started going through this whole box of pictures, and we narrowed it down to the one who was in the most pictures, and it was this lady. And that's where it all kind of started. Sarah did absolutely amazing. And then we found the son, met the son at a Starbucks, gave him the box of stuff. She gave him the message that his mom wanted him to have.
2 pages of information from his mom.
Wow.
It was
beautiful.
It was amazing. So yeah, spirits, they come to us for help too. It's very important. And she was very relentless. She was not going to stop haunting these boys until she got something done.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was a sweet spirit, so she wasn't doing anything mean. She was.
Yeah.
They were just uncomfortable with the idea of a ghost.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, well, hey, I tell you what. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a very fascinating conversation. I'd love to come up with 18 more pages of questions and have you back on if you'd like.
Oh, we would love to.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Check these ladies out, TexasGhostAndSpirit.com, Facebook.com/Texas Ghost and Spirit Intervention. I've put the video that they have, put it in the chat room. We're also going to put it on our Facebook, our website, and I encourage...
Thanks for that.
Yeah, check it out. Follow these ladies. Really neat stuff they're doing. I guess these are questions we ask everybody who's a guest here on Everybody Has a Podcast. 3 quick questions. You can just give me a yes or no. All right, pretty sure I know the answer to one. Number 1, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
Yes.
Number 2, do you believe in aliens?
Well, okay. I've never encountered one, but I believe in the possibility.
Same here.
Okay. Number 3, do you believe in Bigfoot?
I believe in the possibility, but I've never seen one. How's that?
I love that answer.
Everyone, we always get a no on the Bigfoot. Always.
Yeah. I'm going to go with her answer. I'm not really sure.
All right. Well, hey, Sarah and Felicia, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Gentlemen, I really enjoyed that interview. I think those are 2 very delightful ladies.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, man, they're doing real good work, and we appreciate them spending their time with us.
Yes, definitely. Once again, we're going to post all their social media information, their website. This YouTube video is rad. We're going to put it up. Make sure you guys have access to it. So check it out on our Facebook and like them because they deserve it. They're actually doing a service. We don't do anything. I might make your your we might make your morning drive 30% less crappy, but they're really helping people. It's neat too. What do you gentlemen say we do a little bit of news before we head out of here tonight?
Let's go.
All right, story number 1. This is epic. This is super epic. MTV promises to be about music for an entire half of a day.
Oh my god!
Just one.
MTV, VH1, and CMT sent out a press release this morning announcing that on July 4th, which they're calling Music Independence Day, they will, quote, dedicate their channels exclusively to music. All day long, if by all day long you mean from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern and Pacific, what do we think about this?
Is TRL still on?
No, I don't believe so, Ryan. I don't think TRL's still on, is it?
No, dude, it's been, well, with the exception of this Teen Mom stuff that we have been talking about for the past 35 minutes, MTV sucks so bad.
No, it is. I remember, this is going to kind of date myself a little bit, but I remember when it literally was all video. Like, it was all video all day, and every now and then you would have, like, the Kurt Loder news session, and they would pop in. Yeah. But it was all videos, and that turned me on because this is before the internet. This is how long ago it was. And so, like, if you were going to get turned on to a new band, you either depended on a friend of yours, my older brother, or you would see the video on MTV, and you're like, oh, that song's badass. Let me go check out that album,
Yeah, man, it's super cool. I remember those days. I was younger. But, yeah, man. So, I hate to say this. The downfall, though, of MTV, what we call the downfall. Probably Real World.
Absolutely.
Because that was a popular show that did not deal with music. I hate to say this. This hurts me. Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah.
As beautiful as that show was, well, they still showed music, but then there were the clips. And, a 9-year-old me, I wanted to see the clips. Because Beavis and Butthead, it was hilarious, and as a 30-year-old man, it's still hilarious. I hate to say that, but, that show probably caught on. Well, it did. And that's probably what started moving them in the other direction, right?
I agree. Isn't VH1 an MTV product?
Yes, they're all like Viacom, right?
Yeah, so I think VH1 was initially... they initially basically developed that to be an alternative because there was so much original programming going on MTV where they would just play videos. But even eventually VH1 went to reality TV, and it's the vicious cycle. I don't understand it, to be honest with you, because MTV back in its heyday was cool as crap, man. Because you had, like you said, TRL, right? You had all these shows, and you were exposed to a lot of different kind of music instead of just being set in your normal genres as you are today. Now, I watch 5 minutes of it, and I'm just sickened with the world. I can't believe people are watching this, and like there's a little 13-year-old girl right now emulating the Teen Moms,
Yeah.
Is this? I mean, okay, we all know we want music, right? We understand we want that, but it's a really good business move. And the reason I ask that is because they've got you've got YouTube now. You've got all these other channels to be exposed to music. Is it over just playing random music? Can you really make money off that? Now do you have to produce other content that other people can't really create? Because right now, let's just Hootie and the Blowfish.
It always goes back to Hootie and the Blowfish for you.
Yeah, they could make a new video. They could put it all over their Facebook. They have 1,000,001 channels to distribute that video. MTV provides no unique service at that point to distribute that content.
Well, CMT, if anybody watches CMT at all, they have a mix. They have reality shows. They actually play feature movies on that channel, but they also, I think every Saturday or Sunday morning, they play a top 40 kind of a countdown kind of thing. And it always seems to be when I'm cleaning up the house or something, I can't find anything else on Drake TV, the 300 channels, you can't find anything. And so I'll just play it, in the background while it's playing. And that seems to be a pretty good product because they have a nice mix.
Uncle Waldo in the chat room says, Palladia. Have you guys watched Palladia?
I have, yeah, that's good. That's a good channel.
And Uncle Waldo's a music guy. Decent live music, epic, awesome videos. He's right. A lot of times when we've had parties in the past, I'll just put it on Palladia.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could focus on live music a lot more. That might be a bigger draw, in my opinion. I just don't see music videos making a large comeback any longer.
I agree with you, but you and you're right about now they have all these tools to distribute. But you got to understand, man, these tools are no more than 5, 6, 7 years old. MTV hasn't been playing music for a long fucking time before then. I think they let it go. I bet you if you look at their numbers are higher than ever. But now their target demo is different. It's not the alternative 22-year-old chick. It's the 14-year-old fucking daddy's girl.
Well, whenever we were watching music back in the day on MTV or VH1 or whatever, we were okay with sitting through a 4-minute Missy Elliott video to get to the Kid Rock video. But now I don't think people do that shit. They're like, no, I can go on fucking Vivo on YouTube and watch whatever the fuck I want. Do I really need to sit here through a song I don't like? No, I'll just turn it off.
Yeah, well, we're way less patient because we have so much more on our fingertips. We can just access anything we want.
Well, like DVR killed that whole thing too, because like now, I mean, how much shit do people put on their DVRs? You're not going to DVR.
Yeah, but
fucking.
Ironically, do you know the very first video that played on MTV? It was "Video Killed the Radio Star."
Oh wow!
So
internet killed the video star.
Yeah, yeah.
So speaking of videos, what's a video that you guys can remember that just kind of blew your mind or really turned you on to a band?
Ooh, good question. Good question, man.
Mine was on TRL. Nobody probably even fucking knows who this band is because they fucking stopped playing music pretty quickly. Orgy, that doesn't count as a 4-letter word. They played the song Blue Monday. They were number 3 on the top 10, just saying, no big deal. And I was like, man, I really like gothic trip hop. So, like, it turned me on to that band. I really, even to this day, I still listen to them, and it was all because fucking Carson. Damn it!
Here it is, folks. We have a curse word.
It's because Carson Daly. Carson Daly said it.
Break the wheel, break the deal, spin the wheel. Break the deal, spin the wheel.
That was a good solid 10 minutes.
Yeah, that was good. Ryan, how about you? What about a video that you can remember just kind of really turned you on to a band or something you just really dig?
Well, I'll say this. I think it was 95, the year that Jagged Little Pill came out, changed my life. I'm such a lesbian.
Alanis Morissette?
Yeah, I remember the ironic video. But it's still one of the best CDs ever. I don't care what anybody says. I'll gladly wave my LGBT flag.
That's ironic.
Here's what I'll tell you. I remember the movie Fear with Marky Mark and Reese Witherspoon.
Why do you remember that movie?
Well, it introduced me to the band Bush.
Oh, yeah.
Which I still think is one of the fucking most awesome bands out. I love Bush. I saw them a year or two ago, man. It's fucking awesome, I saw Gavin Rossdale and his new band named Bush. But, man, I remember hearing Come Down, and I think there was another one in that movie, and I remember being like, God damn, that's awesome. Like, what is that band? I had to seek it out. And so I reached down to my Shazam app, and I realized I didn't even have a cell phone because it was 1996, and Shazam didn't exist. So it took me like 3 months to figure out who is Bush.
Yeah, because you're on 56K internet, so it was a chore.
Yeah,
you really like that song.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Bush was still is, but back in their heyday, man, they were real good because they played drop D, real heavy power chords, and Gavin had a nice voice. I dug Bush a lot when I was younger.
Grunge, I think, was such a fucking awesome movement. I know it killed awesome 80s music, but man, I really, to this day, it felt like if even an ironic grunge band came out, much like we have these ironic 80s power ballad bands now, or whatever, dude.
Don't say with a condescending tone like Steel Panther is not one of the most badass fucking bands on the planet.
That's what I'm saying, man. I want a grunge version of that. I would fucking just worship them.
Okay, so Bill, what's the one video that you saw that you're like, holy shit?
There's actually a couple of them. I'll leave it to 2. I had an older brother, so he influenced me quite a bit on my music taste. But I remember the first time I saw the Sober video for Tool.
Oh, okay. Tool is so legit. Tool is so legit.
Yeah. And I remember the album cover didn't have any pictures of them because back then you actually had the CD and the little they actually came with an insert and you could look at it. There wasn't any pictures, so like your mind just races. You're like, I wonder what these guys look like because they play so fucking heavy. So I remember seeing the video, and the video doesn't show them either. It's all like claymation stuff, and man, my mind was blown by them, and I just became a huge fan of their music and just kind of just how they played. And I was learning how to play the guitar at the time, so just the way they played was so unique. Different tunings and Maynard is just such a madman. So I'd have to say, really any of the Tool videos, 46 and 2 is probably my favorite video they ever did. And another one, and I'm ashamed to admit it because it's Korn. It's
Barbie Girl.
Oh, no, hey, dude.
It's Korn.
Korn still hits so fucking hard. I don't care what anybody says.
No.
Oh, Korn is badass, dude.
No.
Yes.
But there was a time, I would say probably 10 years ago, Freak on a Leash.
Freak on a Leash, there we go.
Yeah.
You're okay.
I had a friend of mine play it in his car. And I was like, man, this fucking goes hard, you know? So probably 2 or 3 days later, I was too embarrassed to ask him who it was. I don't want to be that guy. But 2 or 3 days later, I saw the Freak on a Leash video, you know, the bullet flying through and the animation.
Yeah.
So it turned me on to him. So I bought what was it? Was that Freak on a Leash, the name of the album?
Follow the Leader.
Oh, Follow the Leader, yeah.
Clark talks a lot of shit about
No, their old stuff is tight.
So I buy that album, right, and I dug it. You know, there's lots of real good songs on it. And then I started doing a little research online, and I realized that their most popular album was their very first one, the Korn, the self-titled Korn. So I bought that, and I shit you not, I played that over and over and over again. Still, the song Blind on that album is one of my favorite songs ever. Oh, it's awesome.
What is the one where they do nursery rhymes at the beginning? That shit is awesome. Bagpipes?
Shoots and Ladders?
Shoots and Ladders, yeah.
Oh,
it starts off with bagpipes.
Yes. Awesome.
So we turned into a Korn fanboy show.
I made my parents listen to the intro of that song just so they could like hear that. They were like my parents. I was like 12. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments, and this goes back to MTV, is when they did the Woodstock. I think it was '99. And they did a live broadcast. They were showing it, and Korn took the stage, and they were like they had like 5 stages, but everyone from all the other stages converged on this one stage, and Korn opened with Blind. And the part of the song when he was like, "Oh, are you ready?"
Oh yeah,
they panned across the crowd, and dude, there was just waves of people jumping, dude.
Like that exact part in that song probably got so many JV football games fired up.
Oh, absolutely. And that was before the jock jams.
Dude, yeah. I remember when I was in high school and I was in the band, and our football team was fucking miserable. They sucked so hard, dude. And I remember their chant at the beginning of before every game was, "Let the bodies hit the floor."
Oh, God damn it.
They did that like 6 times together, got all pumped up, and just went and got their fucking assholes pummeled, man. Like, it was so lousy. The whole season was that.
Whenever I played football, like, it was around the time whenever like rap was starting to get really, really, really big, and like metal, like Korn or whatever, if you want to call it metal, was already big. So like 50%, we're all country boys. There's like 10 of us in our class. Like 6th grade is allowed to play junior high football, so we can say 11 man. So like 90% of them are listening to like DMX, like the rapper, and like there's like 4 of us listening to Korn. It was just so miserable. Like, everybody else is like making fun of the other ones. Like, you're listening to DMX, well, you're listening to Korn.
Look,
like,
man,
we're all faggots. Like, shut up.
Since we're going down memory lane with the football stuff, I always had a problem with our band, and I think they were actually working against us because, for our listeners that aren't familiar with football, when the team's on offense, you want everything to be as quiet as possible because you do a lot of communication, and when the team's on defense, you make a lot of noise, right? Yeah. Well, they wouldn't fucking toot a horn or even hit a drum whenever we were on defense. But the moment we got the ball, they played Barbara Ann as loud as they could, like over and over again. And you're trying at the line, you're trying to make calls, and all you hear is fern, 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 fern. And it became a running joke for us, you know. But I'm fairly certain that the band director was, you know, stupid football players, blah, 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 you know, because it was comical.
He's just playing the Carpenters. Why do birds suddenly appear?
So Ryan, was there a resentment from the band for the football team, or can you give me a little second party information here?
Our school is really small. Everybody pretty much got along, except for their like 3 retarded kids everybody picked on. No, not really, man. I'm trying to think. No, I mean, you know, they could have beat my ass, so I chose not to fuck with them.
And another thing I thought was really stupid, and our band used to play the Florida State. They have like a tomahawk chop song they play. It's like an Indian chant.
That one?
Yeah, and our mascot had absolutely nothing to do with any Native Americans, or, you know, it was just completely out of place. I always just thought it was just really random and embarrassing, to be honest.
All right.
That was Trip Back to Memory Lane with Clark, Ryan, and Billy.
News kind of got a little sidetracked there. That was cool. Good conversation. So, wow. Imagine if MTV just played music permanently, what kind of discussions would be triggered?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a lot of our childhood's linked with MTV. I think that's one thing I just discovered.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's any need for VH1 and MTV anymore. I mean, except for pop-up video.
Well, I think the most outrageous one, honestly, CMT did Hogan Knows Best. Like, how did that happen? Like, I didn't even know that. I didn't even know Hulk Hogan was their target demo. Whatever.
But you know, one thing I did learn from that show was he was in line first for the George Foreman grill and he turned it down for an energy drink.
Yes, I
and,
heard about
and
that.
George Foreman got it.
I heard that. That's crazy, isn't it?
George Foreman was the second pick, really?
Yep. I think Hulk Hogan was probably the first or second, but regardless, everybody turned it down and ended up making George Foreman millions.
Yeah.
And cooking delicious hamburgers.
All he had to do was say yes, man, and probably do a couple commercials. Now he's doing Rent-A-Center commercials with Troy Aikman.
Troy Aikman's still alive?
Yes.
I just thought he would live forever through like the labels of Brute.
That guy has so many head injuries, man. Like, I feel bad for him later in life.
All right, gentlemen, I think that that probably does it for this episode of Everybody Has a Podcast. Once again, thank you so much to Felicia and Sarah from Texas Ghost and Spirit Intervention. Super rad. I want to talk to them again. We're going to do it. Check them out, texasghostandspirit.com. You can follow. They always talk about their cases and what they've done. Facebook.com/Texas Ghost and Spirit Intervention. Thanks for checking us out, guys. Everybodyhaspodcast.com, Facebook.com/everybodyhaspodcast, blah, 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 blah. Follow us. Share us with a friend, please. We haven't had some new Facebook likes in a while. It'd be nice to get one or two of those tonight. I'd feel nice. We want to play you guys out with a song from a band. This band is Sorn. And the song we are playing you out with tonight is called Omnipotent. Check them out, sorn.com, facebook.com/sornmusic. This is Omnipotent. Tune in next week where Bill embraces me while I work on a pottery wheel.